Hello and welcome, Campbell here, autodidactic. And today I thought we'd have a bit of a look at this map, the Typus Orbis Terrarum from 1575. And I was just having a look at this, and so I thought I'd share. Now, obviously, straight away, there's a few differences to our current maps here as far as this landmass at the bottom, which is called Terra Australis Nondum Cognita. So the land of Australia hidden, basically. It's interesting, right? Because they obviously knew it was there. It's on a map here. They say that Australia was discovered in 1788 by Captain Cook, or at least, that's when he landed. They say the Dutch were here in the 1600s. This map's 1575. And here it is, Australia, but that's clearly not Australia, right? This is, looks like Antarctica is joined in there. And of course, at the top here, we have the four land masses. In the north, Hyperborea. And a few of the other things, like to start with, this is South America. Okay, look at the shape of this and look how close it is to Antarctica, right? To Terra del Fuego, which means the land of fire, right? And now we're told this is frozen. Why would they call it the land of fire? Don't know. So this is how they depict South America in 1575. So let's have a look at it today. And here we go. We've all seen this. This is, of course, Google Earth. And as you can see, it's not really a square, right? It's big on top and goes down into this point. And of course, this, down the bottom, we have the continent of Antarctica, and completely fake, right? If you just zoom in here, you'll see all the lines converge. See that? Oh, and then we see the light. You can see this has all been folded in and folded in electronically. It's not real. It's not a photo. It's nothing from a satellite. I mean, look at this stuff. Look what we get. But anyway, frozen, right? This is what was called Terra del Fuego. The top of Antarctica, right? As best we know, it's now ice, and you can see they're quite a distance apart now, right? And of course, this very skinny end to South America, compared with this rather, rectangle South America. Definitely no skinny point at the bottom, and extremely close to this landmass. Right? And of course, the other thing is there's cities everywhere. On all these old maps, there's all these cities. And as you can see, all up the side here, not so much in the Amazon, but we've got a few and just named towns everywhere, right? Now the Caribbean, the Caribana. And when we come up here into the Caribbean or, the Caribana, we get this piece of land sticking out into the Gulf of America, the Gulf of Mexico, whatever you want to call it. That is no longer there. And Florida, I mean, you can see this is very straight here. And this, the panhandle, as they call it, doesn't seem that big. I mean, we'll have a look on Google Earth, but just in comparison, I thought it was a lot bigger today. And of course, Florida now is pretty much just that panhandle, right? Like back in the day, this whole sort of region was Florida. And then up here where Georgia is, we've got Iapedra, and so we do have these towns, these cities drawn the old way that we see all over these maps up here, and Shalaga. Shalaga. It's not showing the city on this map, but there is a city on many maps. I think it's on this junction here. Basically where Chicago is, right? And so this is America Civ Indianova. America, I'm not sure what that means. Something new. And 1492, Christopher Columbus. And down here, again, we got cities right way up here, which would be Canada. Then down here we've got Kikuik, Aoka, Tatanti. So that's like Toronto, right? So a lot of these names are similar. Murata. We've got California, or this, I guess this is it, right? Calicuous, I guess this is the California area. Um, it's not all California now, but yeah, it's sort of half an island, right? We've seen the maps with California as an island. So as you can see, this would be the valley, I guess, and it's part of the ocean. And then we have all these rivers going in, which I don't think there's that many rivers there now, and cities, right? All the way down. Hispania, Nonna, I'm not sure what that is. Back down to the Carabana, and then we've got Cuba and some bigger islands here, right? So that's what we've got on this map. I remember this big jutting bit. And Cuba, fairly close to that and fairly big, and then one other big island and small islands. So when we come up to the Caribbean on Google Earth, yeah, see how this, panhandle looks a lot bigger in this in comparison, and Cuba, it's kind of long and thin, right? And this other island, not that big. So they don't seem to be as big, now as they were in 1575. And then we have the Gulf here, which is pretty open. We've got this bit jutting up here, but that's in the map as well. And then this bit here is not straight, right? But you can kind of see under the ocean, it looks like it might have been, which would have also, maybe this was all land and that sort of was the Florida we see. But what I'm getting at is the sea levels have changed, right, on what we're shown now and what we see in this old map. So here's this bit jutting out, and you can see on our maps now, this is much more of a round. It's rounded, right? And so I think this is the bit that we see today that's jutting out, and this is all a bit thinner. And then we have Cuba. It is kind of long and straight. I guess this looks a lot bigger here, though. This is almost bigger than Cuba there. And the Panhandle. So we've got some differences, right? It's kind of changed the topography. Definitely, Australia has changed. And if we look in here, this is called New Guinea, right? New Guinea, which I'm guessing is referring to this landmass here. Insular parts, continents, Australia. So basically, I don't know, it's saying it's part of the continent of Australia, but that's New Guinea. So what does New Guinea look like today? All right, so we come around to Australia and this here is New Guinea. Okay, so it's kind of fat in the middle. It's got a long bit there, long bit there. And it sits above the top of Australia. That's New Guinea today. And that's Australia today. And as you can see, they say it's quite a way away from the landmass of what they call Antarctica. But that's New Guinea. And on this old map, it looks like this, right? It's almost a circle, where now it's kind of this long bit. So again, it looks like the waters have risen, right? And so, they've inundated sort of this part of New Guinea. I don't know what they've done to Australia. I mean, completely what separated us from the rest of the landmass down here, the rest of the ice wall continents. Obviously, Hyperborea, well, we're told we can't check this and we can't check Antarctica, but we're told there's no land up there. So are they all submerged? California, clearly, this is no longer an island, right? So what does that mean? I'm not sure. So, and that's another thing about this map is some areas seem to have been inundated where this you would think the waters would have had to drop, right, for it to be connected back to the mainland. So there's obviously earth changes of something, but definitely, the ocean levels have risen. And so if we go across off the coast of China here, Japan, now that would be Taiwan, I'm guessing. You can see this is kind of a long island where on the map today, this is off the coast of China, India and stuff. Taiwan, right? See how it's now facing sort of up down. So again, it looks like it's been swamped, right? Some of the land's gone underwater. And of course, on Google Earth, they show us all these land masses, real or imagined, so they kind of show us that there's bigger land masses under. So if the water levels dropped, there would be more land. And then another thing I noticed, and that, there's a lot of different stuff on this map. So just a quick look at it. If we go in here, we have Africa called Barbaria. And well, the first thing is we've got all these cities through the Sahara Desert, right? Got Egypt here. Yeah, look, one, two, three, four, five, six. This has got 7 or 8 cities, like in the Sahara, a couple of rivers, and Cairo, Egypt. No pyramids drawn in here. Interesting. And then as we go up, we have the Mediterranean. This is Greece, Italy, and this is the Black Sea. And as you can see, it's open, right? So they haven't named it as a sea because it's basically part of this, right? The Mediterranean. And here we are, top of Africa, Mediterranean, Greece, and you can see this is now blocked off, right? So this is the Black Sea, and it's a sea now because it's not connected to the Mediterranean anymore. So that's what I mean. Some bits the water seems to have dropped, and other places it seems to have risen. Okay, and the other thing we have here is this. So this is the Caspian Sea. There you go, Caspian Sea. And you can see it's kind of long down here, right? Next to the Black Sea. But come to this map, here's the Black Sea, Caspian Sea, it's going the other way. Right, it's long this way, where now it's long this way. Okay, so there's a few different changes, and even in here, this is Anatolia, I believe. I can't see where the A is, but Anatolia looks a bit bigger. Everything just looks a bit different here. Like the water levels have changed, right? Because this is what we get today. Just looks like there's a bit more space in here. Like these lines are pushed out, these coastlines are pushed out a bit. Obviously, this has been connected. So it looks like, just comparing, today's map or, Google Earth and a map from 1575, we can see the Earth changes. We can see that Earth, the Earth has changed, that the water levels have changed. And of course, this is the Bay of Bengal. Yeah, Bay of Bengal. This is where, there's a lot of underwater cities in here. When they had the tsunami 2011, the waters receded and they saw, and this would have been, I'm guessing, in this higher bit, they saw cities, right? So this would also, sort of lead to the explanation that the sea levels have risen, inundated these cities, and that's why they were exposed, when the water levels dropped again. The same thing in the Caribbean, right, with the Bimini Road and off Japan. And I'll have a look at Japan in that map because that often changes a lot too. But so this is India, right? It kind of slopes back, Sri Lanka down here. So on the other map, we go back to India and see India does look a bit fatter and Sri Lanka here looks a bit bigger, right? And it's definitely longer and it's facing this way more. And if we look here, there is, a city right here on the edge. Now, is that what's now underwater? Okay, because this coastline, you can see it's fairly uniform like an arrow, and this is going up this way, where on Google Maps you can see it's not as big and it's not going this way. It's just like a teardrop off the side, right? And India isn't in the map there was more land here, wasn't there? Maybe there was more land on both sides. So what do you reckon? I'm just trying to point out that we've got different sea levels, and this is just one map. I'm going to have a look at a few more in the future. So let me know if you want me to. But this flood that we talk about, the Great Flood, when did this really happen? That's the question. We're told it was way back in the past, but we seem to see evidence for it, everywhere, right? Everywhere. And it seems to be recent, a lot more recent than we're told. So this is Japan here, right? Basically this landmass coming down here off the coast of China, and is that Korea? Yep, it's Korea, North Korea, South Korea. So let's check out what it looks like on the map, right? It's kind of like this long ring here, or long, arc. When we come back to the map, we come up here. This is China, or Cathay, and that's Japan there, right? So look at Japan there. It's basically quite a big landmass, right? A big blob, and then we've got these islands or archipelagos kind of going upwards and off to the left there at the bottom. So today it looks quite different. So you can imagine if they had a temple out here that got covered by the ocean, when the ocean levels rose, it would be underwater, right? Just like Yonaguni. Okay, so again, this is Japan now, right? So we saw it as this big bit here, right? These islands we just archipelagos, and there was a bit coming off there, and there was kind of a big landmass here. And now, of course, we have Yonaguni under the water off the coast of Japan in this inundated, sunken land. So, what do you think? The earth changes being more recent, right? Changed the shape of South America, created Australia, changed the shape of Papua New Guinea and Japan, right? India too, and Sri Lanka. We had a look there. We had a look at the Caribbean, right? We've got this big long bit, but there we have this bit poking out, which we still see today. This is no longer there though. Now we've just got this the sort of arc there. A lot of things have changed. We've got the cities everywhere. We've got cities in the Sahara, which would, make you think that the climate was different as well. And not that long ago, in the 1500s, 1575. And of course, we still have Hyperborea, right, up the top here. Septentrio. Sept is what, seven? I've forgotten what septentrio. I mean, I think it means north, lands of the north, but even America, right? The shape of America looks very different. It looks very wide, right? The USA, I guess, is in here. It just looks quite different to the land shape that we're used to. And this is just crazy, right? And no Australia. So there you go. Just wanted to point that out that we have been through earth changes much more recently than we have been told. And, there's a phenomenon of, islands that appear and disappear up here in the north. Greenland changes shape, right? It's now this kind of pointing the other way, right? It comes down here now, this Grockland, that exists no more, they tell us, right? Ireland or Iceland is much smaller. Friesland doesn't exist anymore. A world that has changed in the last, 400 years, not the last 4,000, 6,000, whatever they, 11,000, Younger Dryas, all this stuff we can see right here on this map. And this is just one, there's many, many of them that show us our Earth has changed recently. So there you go, guys. Just a quick look at that map. Hope you enjoyed that one. Please leave me a comment. Subscribe if you haven't, like, do all that cool stuff, and have an amazing day. And I'll talk to you all on the next upload. Bye for now.
Remember, in the end, nobody wins unless everybody wins.